So over the weekend, there was a post on the Fit Instagram page effectively letting Brad Sims go from the team after just 7 or 8 months. There's a really long and detailed explanation of this in the caption of this post, which has now been completely removed from Instagram, but pages like Our BMX and Vital BMX did share this as well as the caption, so it's still online, and I'm sure that a lot of you have seen this or followed it on social media. And Saturday morning, this became the focus of BMX, and there is a lot to talk about here. But before we get into that, let's take a look at the post. And for those of you who don't want to read all of this, I'll read it to you right now. Like most of you, we spent the first part of last year in awe of what Brad Sims was doing on his bike daily. By April, when it became increasingly bizarre that someone with this skill set was still not receiving support, and because he was regularly riding with the dudes on our team already, we started talking with him about joining Fit. We don't take adding riders to our pro teams lightly, as Fit and S&M have sponsored many riders over the years that have gone on to have decades-long careers with our brands. When we put someone on, our hope is that they want to be a part of projects and products we produce, and that together we build a legacy with each other. In Brad's case, even though it became evident early on that he really just wants to do his own thing, we were still eager to explore what we could accomplish together. Even though Brad was brought on at the very top of our pay scale, on par with other popular riders we have supported for years, he wanted his salary doubled for 2021 and communicated as much in a text to the owners at 7 p.m. on Christmas Eve. When we told him that wasn't something we could do 7 months into his contract, communication with him ceased. Despite repeated attempts to contact him by several people in our organization, we haven't spoken to him since December. We can only assume that he has found new sponsorship or has decided to go his own way, but hasn't had a chance to let us know about it yet. Our number one motivator for sponsoring Brad was to support his hustle and talent in an arena where he was fighting as a free agent. It didn't work out as planned, but hopefully our support helped him get a leg up wherever he's headed next in some small way. Best of luck, Brad. And with this post, as well as the others from meme pages and BMX media, came a proverbial shitstorm in BMX. Everyone was focusing on this and had something to say about it, it seems. There's a lot of hate thrown towards Fit, there's a lot of hate thrown towards Brad, and I think that there's some important takeaways here. And while I can't say for sure why Fit made this post, because nobody knows except for the people directly involved, I think there's a lot of people who are just jumping to conclusions who don't have full stories or full context of the situation on both sides. And I think that taking a step back and looking at this situation as a whole could be really helpful in general. And in doing this video and talking about this really complex situation, I felt like I needed to reach out to the people actually involved in this, in Brad Sims and Chris Moeller being the owner of Fit and S&M, and I actually did hear back from both of them. I just reached out for comment on the situation, and Chris Moeller said, and I'm going to read it directly from the message, "I feel like the Fit Instagram post is pretty straightforward. We have no hard feelings towards Brad. We just wanted to work with him, and he obviously didn't want to work with us anymore. When someone doesn't communicate with you, I feel the relationship is over." From Brad's side of things, he didn't really give me a comment to put out there publicly, but what I did gather is that he simply thought that it was a very, very bad business move on Fit's end to put all of this out there. And in the comments of the original post, there was a lot of back and forth between Fit and the commenters, as well as Chris Moeller and the commenters. And there's one comment in here from Fit directly that I feel is important to share in all of this. It says, "We didn't shut him down. We offered him an incentive-based raise to make up the difference. He obviously wasn't interested." And then over on Our BMX, there's an edit in here that says, "I talked to Brad on the phone and he's debating on making a public statement. If he does, I'll add it to this post. Ryan." So there's that as well. And with all of that being said, those are the publicly known facts at the base level of this situation. I've tried to keep all of my thoughts and opinions out of this and separated so that there's no confusion between the two. So moving forward here and for the rest of the video, these are my thoughts and opinions on this situation, and mine only. I don't want any confusion here between the two because there is a separation there. And with that, there's a lot of people arguing in the comments of these posts, a lot of people arguing about things as far as Brad Sims and Fit and all of that goes. And I think that no matter which side you feel you're on, my final takeaway in this video is something that either side can look at and maybe appreciate. So with that, I do want to start out by saying that I really appreciate the transparency from Fit here. There's a lot of people on both sides saying they shouldn't have put this out there. This wasn't necessary. And yes, they should have put this out there. And to me, the transparency here does not feel like a slam at Brad Sims whatsoever. It doesn't feel like they were trying to attack him. It felt like they were trying to prevent negative backlash in this situation by putting the actual truth out there. A situation like this could so easily be spun out of control and be so detrimental to Fit if they didn't put the truth out there. People could so easily speculate and make things up and completely ruin Fit based on them not actually putting out the truth, which they did. And while I can't say whatsoever why they did this because I don't know their motivation for it, that's what it feels like to me. It feels like they're trying to prevent the negative backlash that could come from a situation like this. And with the wild speculation that goes on in the BMX world already, as well as the comments made by Brad Sims on the Unclicked podcast in regards to him being dropped by merit, can anyone blame Fit for trying to get ahead of this situation and prevent that speculation from happening? People could so easily try to claim that Fit didn't do anything for Brad Sims or didn't try to work with him whatsoever, but now because they put all of this information out there and because of the fact that they were transparent, no one can confidently make that claim because Fit already refuted it before anyone could even make it. And this is where I want to kind of separate this situation from the topic of transparency in BMX. I want to talk a little bit more about transparency in BMX, but using this situation as an example rather than commenting on the situation itself. So with transparency in BMX, I feel like the more the general public knows and the less it is hidden behind the scenes or pulled behind the curtains, the less speculation can be had and the more people can base their opinions and judgments based on the truth and not that speculation or meme pages or anything like that, because nobody really knows what's going on. The more transparency is out there, the more truthful judgments people can make. And I'm not saying that it doesn't exist right now, but I'm saying that I feel like this could lead to more integrity in the BMX industry and in the BMX world. So with this situation and Fit putting all of this out there, people are slamming them in the comments of all of these posts. And I should add, there are people agreeing with them and praising them for putting this out there, but there are also a lot of people slamming them for this. But even with all of this slamming and even the praise and agreement, what you don't see in all of this is speculation. You don't see people speculating as to why this happened or why Brad's not on Fit the way you would if they just simply made a post saying that Brad wasn't on Fit anymore. And there's a lot of people saying that that's all they needed to do. Well, I don't think that's all they needed to do, because just saying that opens the door for the speculation and people making things up and saying whatever they want to. And the second that people start believing that speculation is the second that people start turning against Fit for speculation and not for facts. If they put all of this information out there and they're transparent and they put things out there and people still decide that they are against Fit now, well then that's fine, because they made that decision based on facts that Fit put out there themselves. Not something that some random person on the internet said that they're like, oh, I don't like Fit anymore now because I read this comment from somebody. And that is the point that I wanted to get at in all of this, because all you're left with are the facts and people making their judgments based on them. You've got people on both sides saying Brad is bad and Brad is good, whatever. I'm not here to talk about all of that, but that's what you're left with. There's no speculation left, and I think that is a very good thing, especially moving forward if more people and more companies started doing this, because then you hold people accountable for their actions, because that's all that's left. It's the truth and the actions of the situation that people get to make their judgments and form their opinions on. And in all of this, I'm not here to debate either side, but what I will say in all of this, and this is coming directly from my notes, is that BMX sponsorship is a job. And in life, when you're really good at your job and you excel, you sometimes have the ability to ask for a raise or ask for more. And with that, Brad Sims, being a professional BMX rider for Fit as a job, went to his employer, Fit, and asked for a raise, to which they replied, well, we can't just do that, but we can offer you an incentive-based raise, which in my interpretation means if you do your job very well and you sell bike parts, because in the end, that is the job. Your job is to sell bike parts as a professional BMX rider, because that is the only way you can get paid, is if you sell bike parts and they make enough money to pay you. if you do your job and sell bike parts, we can pay you based on how well you do your job. And that is exactly how it works in the real world. Whenever people excel at their job and do really well at it, they have the opportunity to ask for more based on how well they're doing at their job. And some could argue Brad Sims definitely deserves something. He won 2020 Rider of the Year from both Vital BMX and the Nora Cup. And that is definitely an argument to be made, to which it sounds like Fit offered him an incentive-based thing that if he keeps doing his job well moving forward, he can get paid more to make up for that difference that they couldn't just give him in a raise. And in the end, it's truly you get what you give, and it sounds like Brad Sims didn't want that from Fit, so he ghosted them and just didn't respond to them with any type of communication, which is totally fine. That's Brad's decision in life. He doesn't have to do anything he doesn't want to, and that's another part of this. He doesn't have to respond to Fit. He doesn't have to do anything. But ultimately what it comes down to for me, and I feel the public of BMX, is the principle behind it. And it could be argued either way, whether or not it was professional for Fit to put this out there or professional for Brad Sims to just not respond to them whatsoever after he tried to negotiate, and there was a negotiation there and he just walked away from it with no communication. And that's why we needed his side of the story to hear these types of things, so we really can't say much in that regard. But ultimately what I feel we could take away from this, and what I feel the general public of BMX might agree with, is the principle behind these things and the fact that we have facts to base our judgments off of rather than wild speculation from either side based on a lack of those facts. I think that's the most important part that I feel any reasonable person could agree with. And with that, moving forward, I can only hope that there's more transparency from more companies and people in BMX, because I feel that can only lead to more objective and fact-based decision making rather than making decisions based on speculation. And I can promise you guys, as average BMX riders who aren't involved in the industry, there's a lot more that goes on than you know, and a lot of things that have happened in the history of BMX that you don't know about that could sway your decision making. And I think that transparency can only help with those things, and I feel we have a right to know about some of this. So with that being said, let me know your guys' thoughts on any of this in the comments down below. I truly did my best this time to do my due diligence and reach out to both sides and cover things fairly in this entire situation, and I just wanted to take away not from the situation itself, but what positive could come from it. So with that, thank you guys for being here and watching, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow for another video. Goodbye.